The biggest benefit for me is probably the healing of a traumatic brain injury. Okay. So it's 7 years ago now. I had a concussion from a car accident that was pretty bad, and the doctors essentially said that I had lost 10% of my brain function.
Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. I'm DC. Today on Stories of Healing, this is quite a remarkable story. We're talking to Adam Lacey. Now, a lot of people know Adam on YouTube from his channel, Carnivore Today. He's also working on a documentary with Homestead House, Kerry Mann. They're working on this Healing Humanity documentary. But Adam's story itself is quite amazing. From a very serious concussion that led to, balance issues and more. He also had issues of inflammation, arthritis, and many other problems. By the time he was 46, he could barely move. And to look at him now is incredibly different. It's a remarkable transformation. It's not just healing, but improving on what was there before. So I'll leave you to his story in his own words, and I'll see you soon. Adam, you want to tell us about yourself?
Hi, Dave. Thanks for having me on. My name's Adam, and I am the host of Carnivore Today YouTube channel, and also the assistant director for Healing Humanity, The Power of a Proper Human Diet documentary. I am a carnivore. I don't know how much of that you want to get into now, but I've been a carnivore for a little bit over a year, and I'm married to a beautiful wife and have two awesome sons that are out of the house now. And yeah, so that's a little bit about me.
Excellent. Very good. Yeah, well, I imagine all of that keeps you pretty busy. So, well, first, let's talk about your carnivore journey. How did you find the carnivore diet yourself?
I found the carnivore diet because I have an autoimmune condition called vitiligo, which is the certain spots of your skin don't have the ability to produce melanin. So it's like white spots on your skin.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've seen this in some people. It doesn't hurt. It's not painful. And my search was more of a vanity thing. It had gotten worse just prior to going on the carnivore diet. And I did a YouTube search, went to YouTube University, and found a video with Joe Rogan and Dr. Sean Baker. In that video, Joe Rogan expressed that he had seen reversing of his vitiligo on a carnivore diet. And I thought, what in the world is this carnivore diet thing? I'd never heard of it before, unless you're a lion or something like that. So, I went down the rabbit hole and started doing research from there. But yeah, that's how I found out about it.
Very good. So did it take you long from hearing Joe Rogan to when you started the diet yourself? Oh,
no. It probably took maybe 2 days of watching videos after that, because then I had to do research, what is this carnivore diet thing? And I found Dante from Ferrigno Freedom. His was essentially anecdotal evidence, but it was very compelling because I seen his first video and he didn't look so good. He looked very unhealthy and worn out. And I watched the latest video at the time of him, and I thought, holy cow, this guy has really made a huge transformation eating this way. And he essentially did just the lion diet as well. So it was even more strict than just a carnivore diet. So at that point, I found a video from Dr. Berry and a few more from Dr. Berry. And after that, that was all the convincing that I needed. That, a medical doctor was essentially endorsing this way of eating, and he seemed trustworthy to me. He wasn't selling any lotions or potions or pills or anything like that. So I figured, why not give it a try at least for 30 days? And that's how I started.
Yeah. And how long has it been for you now?
February 1st of this year was my 1 year carniversary.
Yeah. So 30-day trial into 1 year.
Yes.
Still going strong. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. This will never end.
Yeah. That's one great thing that sold me too, is that all of these doctors speaking out about the carnivore diet, none of them are trying to sell anything. They're not trying to give us, a supplements or anything like that. So, it's a great thing. They're just doing it because and you don't have to, you get the information for free. It's not like you have to actually book a consultation with them. So, it's a fantastic thing.
Yeah. That's just incredible to me. I mean, for somebody to do that, I mean, they have to be a carnivore, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. No ulterior motive. So,
Right.
it's good. So, a lot of people do this for weight loss or for all sorts of reasons, really. What has been the biggest benefit for you, do you think, so far?
The biggest benefit for me is probably the healing of a traumatic brain injury. Okay. So it's 7 years ago now. I had a concussion from a car accident that was pretty bad. And the doctors essentially said that I had lost 10% of my brain function.
Yeah.
So I went through many complications with that, dizziness, balance issues. I couldn't close my eyes. If I closed my eyes, I would fall down. Wow. I couldn't close my eyes at night, laying down at night in the dark room, because I would have vertigo effect. I couldn't concentrate for very long. Once I got to maybe 30 minutes to an hour of doing, intense concentration, like work or something, I would get a massive headache and I'd have to lay down for the rest of the day, essentially. So gradually over time, that got a little bit better. Also, along with that, the complications that I had was a motor tic. So once my brain was overloaded, I would have a tic that was similar to what somebody with Tourette syndrome would have. And it was completely involuntary. I couldn't control it.
Yeah.
So that was a little embarrassing, if I was out in public and, my brain was getting overloaded. I had a lot of sensory things as well in crowds. If there was too many people talking, too many noises going on, it would overload my brain almost immediately. And I would start to shut down, get a headache, have those motor tics, and we'd have to leave. Many times we'd have to leave where I was. So therapy for 2 years for that, and physical therapy, speech therapy. And essentially they basically said this would never get better. If it did get better, it would be marginal at best. So the balance issues did gradually get better after 2 years of physical therapy and constantly working on my balance. Yeah. So my brain kind of retrained a little bit, even though I was eating essentially a standard American diet. So I was thankful for that treatment and that therapy, but it never got back to 100%. I might have been maybe 93% or 95%, but I could still notice a difference. I still wasn't 100%, and I couldn't push as hard as I wanted to with most things. And I'm a go kind of a person. So that was definitely a hindrance to me. And after eating,
it'd be something you'd have to focus on too, I imagine. Like you'd have to actually concentrate on that, on your balance while you're out.
Absolutely.
Usually we just take it for granted. Yeah.
Absolutely. And that was kind of a big deal for me. I've never been into exercise and fitness and things like that since I started working essentially 55 hours a week when I was 18. But prior to that, I was in martial arts. I was a black belt, a black sash in Kung Fu. My balance was perfect. It was impeccable. I was on demonstration teams. I was on sparring teams. And I had zero issues with balance. So to have that issue was very, very frustrating for sure.
Yeah, I imagine. Yeah.
After 5 months on the carnivore diet, that all went away.
That's remarkable. That's remarkable. I mean, to go from like literally having to concentrate just to keep your balance to just in just 5 months. 5 months is an incredibly short period of time. When you think about a lifetime of the standard diet and years in physical therapy for your injury, and in just 5 months, just changing the way you eat. That's incredible.
Absolutely. So that when I started the carnivore diet, I had this brain injury for 6 years. So the first 2 years I went to therapy, and then everything just kind of plateaued at that point. Yeah. And I relegated myself to just accepting the fact that it's probably not going to get any better than what it is right now. And I just got to live with how it is for the rest of my life. And to my shock, after 5 months on the carnivore diet, that all went away. And what's crazy is I didn't really notice it all at once. It was like one day I was like, man, I haven't had a motor tic at all. I haven't had any issues in public. It gradually went away over that 5 months, and I didn't really notice it, like a switch.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's one of those things you just don't think about, is it? Someone said to me, like, some of the most unexpected benefits, and you don't realize it until you sit down and think about it, and you think, well, or someone mentions it to you and say, I don't have headaches anymore. And I'm like, oh yeah, I don't either, Right. Because it's not something you're sort of really thinking about.
Exactly.
But when it comes to the concentration thing, I'm with you on that. Like, after so many years of chemotherapy, and I could not concentrate. I couldn't hold a conversation. I couldn't remember seeing people 5 minutes ago, let alone hold a conversation with them. I couldn't concentrate on anything for more than 10 minutes, honestly. After that, I would be so tired, I would just be sleeping the rest of the day. So I know how you feel on that. Basically my brain was cooked, so it had quite a lot of damage there. So to get that back is an amazing feeling. It really is.
Absolutely.
To feel it continue to improve. Yes. You can actually, in noticeable steps, this is something that I found is very noticeable. That's an incredible feeling.
Absolutely. Yeah. I feel like, at the time they said 10% brain loss, but I've since gone back to 100, and I feel like that I've gone beyond 100 now. Like I'm even exceeded where I even started to begin with before I even had the energy, or before I had the accident. So the energy levels are just crazy.
Yeah, it's an amazing difference. It really is. I don't actually remember ever thinking this clearly, actually, even when I was younger. Mm-hmm. So it does make a huge difference, not only healing, but progressing, And I spoke to Rick, the 40-year carnivore, this morning. He told me that also starting from age 15, he went from a C minus sort of average grade student or straight A's to scholarship university in electrical engineering, like just in that first 3 years. And the only change was just eating meat and eggs. That's an incredible difference,
For sure.
Yeah. And to me, that's remarkable. It really is. And it's fantastic that we have it now, but it's one of those things you can't help but think, wow, what would it be like if I was on this diet from birth? What would life be like? It'd be so different.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And along with that, I think back to my son when he was born. He had colic for 6 months. Like literally, he just screamed and cried all the time and wouldn't sleep. And it was it had to have been horrible for him. But looking back, my ex-wife didn't want to breastfeed, and that was her decision. So, I had to honor that. So we tried him on milk formula, and he rejected that. His body didn't want it. So they put him on a soy formula. And now I know soy is like one of the worst things you could ever have.
Yeah.
And it was no wonder he was screaming and crying and colicky, for that long, because we were essentially poisoning him.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a horrible thing. You look at the ingredients they put in formulas now. It's just absolutely disgusting. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. So that in itself, that's an amazing story. Like just getting that far and the progression. Have you noticed that? Do you feel it still progressing, or do you think it's plateaued?
I feel like it's probably plateaued now.
Okay.
My energy level is great. I feel lighter than air,
Yeah.
I didn't start the diet for weight loss, but I lost 80 pounds. So
Wow.
that was
Yeah. So
just,
that's a great weight loss. 80 pounds. That's about what, 36 odd kilos. Yeah.
mhm.
So and you've done that with exercise or without?
That was without exercise. And I gained
Wow.
muscle too, according to the scale. I
Yeah.
gained a little bit of bone density and some muscle mass and lost that weight. So
Yeah.
that was without exercise. And even today, I still just do a little bit, push ups, sit ups, some squats, and that's really about it. I
Yeah.
should probably do a little bit more, but I'm just so busy with work.
Yeah. It's hard. Life gets in the way.
Yeah.
So it's the same for everyone. So, um, have there been any other issues along the way? Like, I know a lot of people have started this for different reasons, largely due to for weight loss. Um, but they always notice little along the way. These small improvements in everything else than generally speaking. Has there been anything else? Any aches, pains that you've noticed going away, like joints? How are your joints and muscles feeling?
Oh yeah, for sure. So I had osteoarthritis, and
Mm,
it was essentially in every joint. I had X-rays done, and it was, in my back. I had degenerative disc disease and all sorts of stuff going on with joints and joint pain, and yeah, I'm 46 when I started, and
yeah.
it's like, yeah, that's about the age where you feel like you're one foot in the grave, like, well, it's all downhill from here.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
right. And then within a couple of weeks, the inflammation from the standard American diet, or actually at the time I was vegan. So, yeah,
Wow.
that's a whole nother thing. But the inflammation went next to zero at that point, and the joint pain from the osteoarthritis is completely gone. I had plantar fasciitis for 2 years while I was vegan, and it was intense pain. So I couldn't stand for more than 30 minutes, and I'd have to
Wow.
sit down for 2 hours because the
Wow.
pain was so bad. I bought
So,
special shoes. The shoes were like $250 a pair just to relieve some of this pain so I could stand longer than 30 minutes, right?
yeah.
Within 5 days of the carnivore diet, that pain completely went away, completely, and it has not returned. So now I can buy
Wow.
cheap shoes.
That's a good. So, how long were you vegan?
2 years.
So 2 years solid. So you gave it a good try.
Yes. And it was
So
raw vegan. Now
raw
I
vegan.
can't say that I didn't cheat.
Mm,
I didn't choose that diet because I thought that it was, I'm going to save the planet, or, I didn't want to kill animals or anything like that. A friend of mine came down with prostate cancer, and
mm,
a friend of his 17 years ago started this like raw vegan diet and juicing and all this sort of thing,
yeah,
and he's still alive. So the
yeah,
cancer's gone and he's still alive, but he has this protocol. And as a show of solidarity with my business partner and friend, I said, I'll do this with you, right? Even though I absolutely hated vegetables, I can't stand them, and now I'm eating them raw, right, for almost 2 years. So that's that's what made my vitiligo worse, I
yeah,
believe, because it was there for a good 6-7 years prior to starting the carnivore diet,
mm,
and it had stabilized. Nothing had changed with it for that long. Okay. And then I went vegan, and the farther along I got vegan, I started noticing these little spots on my arms.
Yeah.
Popping up, the white patches. And that's when I was like, oh no, what if this ends up on my face or something, like,
Yeah.
Not that it's a big deal, but who wants to deal with that? You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. So
it's obviously, it's happening for a reason too. Your skin is not getting the nutrients it needs.
right. And at the time I didn't even understand that. It was just strictly a vanity thing. I didn't want it to spread anywhere else. And so, but now I understand the physiology of almost all of it now, and how important it is that I'm eating this way.
Yeah. So at the time, you're vegan for 2 years. You've had a traumatic head injury. You have arthritis in all your joints. You have back issues. You have now you're getting skin blotches and everything else. So you must have felt pretty bad, like to be that sick, like feeling that sore and frail at just 46?
Yep.
Yeah. So, wow. I mean, how did you feel at the time? Like just thinking, is this the best it's going to get, sort of thing?
Oh, it was horrible. Along with that, I had headaches, every other day or every day. It's at times, and I would take Tylenol like I was eating M&Ms.
Wow.
And it would help relieve it, a little bit. It wasn't migraines or anything like that, but it was headaches, and they were constant and all the time, and very, and taking the Tylenol probably did take it somewhat of a toll on my health too. So I was essentially just in a brain fog and couldn't concentrate well, and for a long time. And that was, even before the brain injury.
Yeah, and couldn't stand it either. So
right,
that would be very difficult to put up with, I imagine. So, I mean, I've been through that period too. Like it was too painful to move, too painful to stand up, and that sort of thing. But if you haven't had like a serious health issue, it doesn't feel like there should be a reason for it,
right.
Except for the just the poor diet. But you don't really think about that, do you?
No, not at all.
Right.
I just thought, hey, as much as you hear old people talk about their health issues, it just seems like it's a normal thing. It's a normal progression to just degrade. Your body just degrades. And after meeting Maggie, the rancher, 82-year-old rancher, 65-year carnivore, and she's out working us, as a cowboy, I'm like, what the heck? No, this is not the way it's supposed to work for old people.
No, that's right. Yeah, that's right. I mean, I'm the same. I think whenever you get to a certain age, you start to think, it's just me getting old. I'm just getting old. We're just conditioned to think that way. I was thinking that at 38. I'm just getting old. I'm starting to slow down.
Mm-hmm.
So when you get to 46 and you think all these aches and pains are coming in, you think, well, maybe it's just getting old, sort of thing. But yeah, not so, obviously.
Yeah.
Now, how about the way, like emotionally, when you're in pain for a long period of time? I know this firsthand. If it's a couple of days, like a week, it's not so bad. But when you're in pain for years at a time, depression really sets in. Did you have any problems with that depression yourself?
I did, and it was never something that I sought help for, because I was raised, be a man, you're not going to admit to any sort of thing like that whatsoever. You're not going to seek help. I didn't want the stigma that I felt like would be placed on me for that, which it probably wouldn't. But in my mind, that's just the way that I was raised, and I didn't want to deal with that. So I never sought help. So I just dealt with it. Anxiety was through the roof. It caused many times for me to avoid many situations that could have benefited me and others. And then that would just deepen the depression as well. You know, you just feel crappy about yourself because, you know, you feel like you should have done something at a certain time and you just didn't do it because you were too anxious about it or whatever. So yeah, it was,
you feel like you let yourself down as well.
right.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Just constantly beating on yourself.
Yeah. 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 I know what you mean. It's kind of like a cycle, you know, it just keeps on circling around, and the anxiety sort of feeds the depression, and depression feeds the anxiety, you know? So, yeah. And it's, you know, I was the same. I was growing up, you know, don't be a hypochondriac, you know, it's just a bit of pain, you know, get on with it.
Right.
But, you know, it takes a toll, you know, and the longer you are in that sort of situation, the worse it gets. It just like keep digging that hole of depression, and it gets too much for a lot of people. So
absolutely, yeah. So that was another thing after eating the carnivore diet, you know, maybe 3 months in or something like that. That's when I started to notice the anxiety going away. And as the anxiety went away, the depression naturally followed, because the anxiety seemed to be more the trigger for the depression for me anyways. So once that lifted, the depression lifted. And it wasn't just the fact that those things were gone from my life. Now I literally was at a point where it's like, I'm just clicking days off, you know, like, okay, this is my existence. How long do I need to keep doing this? You know? Yeah, just when is it going to end? Like, there's nothing else new to see in the world. You know, I'm just eating and sleeping and just doing it again and again, you know?
Yeah. It gets to the point, I don't know for you, but just waking up was depressing itself, because another day of this, you know?
Absolutely.
How many days do I have to put up with this? How long do I have to keep going? You know? It feels like a no way out situation. Like, it's only going to get worse from here. So why would I want more of it? You know?
Absolutely.
So yeah, it's a tough situation to get out of, and I think like that. I can't think of her name right now, but she just wrote the book, "Change Your Diet, Change Your Mind."
Yeah, Georgia Ede.
Yeah, Georgia Eden. Yeah. You know, like, it's amazing. This is one of the unexpected benefits. I think you wouldn't think, like, if you're coming from a standard Western diet, especially, you wouldn't think that just changing your diet to carnivore is going to clear up so much emotional and mental issues. You know, you just wouldn't think that. You would think it's impossible. You know, how can just changing the way you eat change the way you think and the way you feel? You know, but of course it makes sense now, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, for anybody that's watching this now, this stuff may sound incredible. It sounds too good to be true, or anything like that. And I promise you, you know, I have no axe to grind. I have no benefit by sharing any of this information whatsoever. So, yeah,
that's the thing too. We're not trying to sell a book. We're not trying to sell supplements. We're not trying to sell you anything. We're just trying to give you information that could help, as it has helped us.
Absolutely. You know? So yeah, the depression and anxiety lifted, but not only that, those are gone, but joy has returned to my life. Now I'm excited about the day. I am happy about, you know, what's going to happen, and uncertainty is fun, you know, like before it was just dread and just created anxiety. So I'm a photographer, professional photographer by trade. I own my own photography business, and I'm always behind the camera. Like, I rarely have any photos of me whatsoever, because I'm anxious, too anxious. I don't want to be on camera. Right. So this is a testament to the carnivore diet. Is I never would have ever done anything like this whatsoever. Any kind of an interview. I started a YouTube channel, which is even more exposing And I mean, the anxiety levels was just off the charts, and there's no possible way that I ever would have done anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm the same. I would never thought of putting my face in front of the camera, especially for a YouTube channel or anything like that. But now I just don't care. It's all good.
Yeah,
just so much more relaxed.
This message is too important to not share. I mean, I feel like I have a responsibility to share this with people, that if you just eat from this section of the grocery store and stop eating from this section of the grocery store, that you too can have powerful effect in your life, and you can live your life to the fullest. It's really that simple.
Yeah, that's one thing I like to emphasize to people. It's about regaining your independence. Like I'm not sure. Are you on medications anymore at all?
I am not. The only thing that I'm taking right now is, and I'm not an affiliate for these, is these grass-fed beef liver capsules. So I don't want to eat the beef liver because it just tastes gross to me. But eating that, that actually has helped bring my nutrition up, and I've noticed it in my hair. So my hair it's normally like super thin and flat, like straight. And now it's starting to get curly and have waves in it and get thicker. It's like, what the heck is going on? And that happened after I started these capsules.
Yeah. Yeah. See, the thing is, if you are, generally speaking, like from where I was on a lot of medications. I'm on 0 medications now. I don't supplement. So the thing is, being on the carnivore diet, being healthy again, means that you are independent. You are not dependent on pharmaceuticals to keep you going through the day.
Absolutely.
And I think that's one of the biggest benefits anyone can have, is to have their independence back.
Absolutely. Claim your power back. And not only that, you have more money in your pocket now.
Well, that's right. Yeah.
Even
and
more
time.
power.
And time. Like the amount of thing about the amount of time you get back on the carnivore diet, you have like 1 or 2 meals, maybe 3 meals. Very simple, very easy to cook. All that time that you get back is time you can be doing other things. That's value. That's better than actually cash in the hand. So
absolutely.
But speaking of meals, what kind of meal plan are you on at the moment? Are you 1 MAD, 2 MAD?
It varies. So I started taking these, not an affiliate for these either. Optimal aminos.
Yeah.
So over at Bella Steak and Butter Gang, they do something called aminotherapy, and you essentially, eat a bunch of these, and especially for people like myself that have an autoimmune condition, people with autoimmune conditions tend to not absorb nutrients that well. And that is probably proof positive with the changes in my hair. So once I started taking these liver capsules and they're super nutrient dense, my body's able to start absorbing some of those things. But the aminos help essentially try to, yes, there's amino acids in meat. There's plenty of it, but because I have an autoimmune condition, not a lot, I don't know how much, but some of that is getting blocked and I'm not getting enough of it. So supplementing with the aminos helps to push me over that limit and have a surplus of the aminos to help exchange out those cells and replace the cells with good ones and properly working ones to hopefully jumpstart getting rid of this autoimmune condition. So So very currently good. I'm on the lion diet.
Okay. So how much do you eat, say out of macro wise, do you eat a percentage of fat to actual muscle meat?
It's about, it's a roughly 50%. So 50-50, but some days it's like 60% fat, 40% meat. And then other days it might be 40% meat or 40% fat, 60% meat. It just really, I just listen to my body and what I feel like I need that day. And yeah, I mean, that's the best marker for me, especially in terms of hunger as well. So if I feel hungry, usually that's your body saying I need nutrients, and I eat until I'm full. And then if I'm hungry again, sometimes it's 3 times a day. Sometimes it's once a day. Sometimes I've ate up to 5 pounds of meat in a day. And sometimes as little as like a 3/4 of a pound. It just really depends.
Yeah. I think being so in tune, I think you're more in tune with your body when you're on a clean carnivore diet. You are more sensitive to the way it feels, and I think it feels like a more natural way to eat. You eat when you're hungry, not when and just don't eat when you're not. It's very simple, and I think you just it's just you're far more sensitive. You're more sensitive to the way that feels.
Yeah, when I was eating standard American diet or even the vegan diet, everything was all disrupted in terms of hunger, especially on the vegan diet, because I wasn't getting nowhere near enough protein. So I had to eat gobs and gobs and gobs of spinach and, some of the worst foods that you could actually eat. So because they're full of oxalates, and that was ruining my health. I have no doubt about that, especially because once I started the carnivore diet, I started having oxalate dumping.
Yeah, that's right. Well, especially if you have an inflammation problem, the oxalates are just going to exacerbate the problem, so just make it worse.
Mm-hmm.
So, what would be your favorite part about the carnivore diet then?
The simplicity. The simplicity of it. It is so simple. Even shopping, I have the app for Sam's Club, and I can walk directly to the meat department. I know exactly what I want. I can scan the meat with the app, pay for it on the app, and walk out the door, not waiting any lines, and show them the receipt. It's so and cooking it is so simple. It's 1 or 2, 3 cooking methods. I get it done and over with, and I eat so I can enjoy my life. Right. Yeah. My life is not eating, and that's true freedom to me. So that's the simplicity of it is the thing that I love the absolute most.
Yeah, I agree. And it should be simple, eating should be the next simplest thing to breathing. It's our next basic instinct. So I try to emphasize with people, don't overcomplicate things. This should be the easiest thing for you to do in life, next to breathing.
Absolutely. Yeah. And to think, back when I was doing standard American diet, it's everything revolves around food and, what are we going to have today? And, I'm going to make this and I'm going to make that. And then you get involved in, I'm going to look up a recipe online. Oh my gosh, you got to have, boiled eggs from the mountaintops of the Himalayas and all these crazy ingredients. Right. Yeah. And before you know it, you've spent like $1,000 on a loaf of bread, it's crazy. And your kitchen is just a disaster. And you've wasted so much time and money and effort, and then half of it goes to waste.
Yeah, that's right. There's a lot of waste involved too, and packaging and things like that as well. Not just food waste, but package waste, everything that goes with it.
Absolutely.
So time-wise for me, it's such a special thing. Time is precious, the most precious thing we all have, and to get some of that back, which is very unusual in life these days, to actually get some time back to yourself. That is incredible.
Yeah, I actually did a video on my channel about how meat gave me my time back. And it's just crazy. I added up all the different things like food preparation, less time at the grocery store, less time in the bathroom. There's just all these different factors that you're saving so much time. So I sleep 2 hours less a day than I did before. And the sleep that I do get is so much deeper. It's incredible. So you think of that 2 hours a day, every day for 365 days, that's just an insane amount of time that you get back of productive time or to do whatever you want to do with,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. So have you had any drawbacks from the carnivore diet?
I would say the only drawback was when I first started, I did get the keto flu for maybe a couple days.
Yeah.
And because I jumped in so soon, I didn't do enough research to know that you should probably supplement with some electrolytes and things like that. So I didn't do that. And also I didn't ease into it. So I had diarrhea for 30 days and it was god awful. And it was almost to the point where I was like, man, was this a good decision or not? I was feeling good until I had to go in there. Right. Yeah. But that passed and everything's perfect and running like clockwork now. So really those two things initially, but that was, in the first 30 days. Some people don't even experience that at all. So the only other drawback I would say is just having to be in the world with all of this garbage junk food that you used to eat and having the temptation there. I have the strength to overcome it now because of the way that I eat, but I would just love if it wasn't even there.
Yeah.
But that's relatively minor. That's the only drawback that I've seen on this diet.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fairly minor drawback, really. We don't have to buy it, and if it's not in the house, then it makes it a lot easier as well.
Exactly.
But yeah, as for things like keto flu and things like that, diarrhea, it depends on where you're coming from, how you start. For my mind, I think if you're coming from the Western style diet, just a standard diet, you should do it over a long period, to say 3 months, and just ease your way into it. But yeah, especially at first, if you haven't got your fats to protein sort of worked out, don't trust the gas. Okay.
Right. Yes.
All right.
Don't trust the parts.
No, don't trust it at all.
For sure. And I think it was worse for me because I was raw vegan for a while. So my stomach acid probably was nowhere near where it needed to be to process all that fat. And it was pretty violent for a little while.
Yeah, I imagine it would be. Fats just go straight through, especially rendered fats, if your stomach's not set up properly. So, and it takes time. Your body goes through a lot of hormonal changes, oxalate dumping, and all sorts of things. So, transition time is, should give it at least 3 months, I think. So, But that's just me anyway. Some people are good to go. I just went from keto to carnivore, so it's a very easy transition for me. It was, I was almost there. It's just
right.
Getting rid of that little bit. So that makes
because I was vegan, I basically had gotten rid of the sugar addiction, the cravings. So that really wasn't an issue for me. So that was an easy part of the transition, but the other two things were not as good.
Yeah, that certainly helps. I mean, getting rid of the sugar addiction, that is one of the hardest things for most people. So do you have any advice for anyone starting the carnivore diet?
The advice that I would give someone would be, you need to be the captain of your own ship. You need to take control of your own health and try not to rely on other people for something that is your responsibility. So do your research. There's plenty of carnivore channels out here. There's plenty of anecdotal evidence that you can look at. There's plenty of carnivore doctors that you can find some confidence in that this way of eating is absolutely one of the most nutrient dense and best diets that you can eat on the planet. Now, I don't call it a diet now. It's a lifestyle for me, and it will be until I pass from this earth. But when you first start, I would say if you're a Band-Aid ripper, go ahead and jump 2 feet in. If you're not that kind of a person, ease into it. Maybe start with cutting out carbs first, cutting out sugar, and then making sure that you're cutting out seed oils. Get to the point where you're on keto. Once you're on keto, then transition to ketovore and then carnivore if you need to go all the way to a carnivore diet. So that would be my advice. And just know that, at least from my experience, I've been doing this for a year. I haven't had 1 ounce of fiber, no issues, no problems whatsoever. I haven't had any sugar, no carbs, no issues, no problems there. And for the last 3 weeks, I've been on the Lion diet, so it's even more restrictive, as they say, and have had 0 issues. It's actually been a benefit to me in my journey. So if you're looking to improve your health, I would say jump in 100%, commit to it for at least 30 days. I would say 90 days. In the grand scheme of things, 90 days in your life it's a blip. Yeah. So, at least give it a full 90 days if you can. Try it out, and I guarantee you at the end you will see some significant results that you probably never thought were possible. Some unexpected results like Dave had and like I've had. And you'll thank yourself for doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. Another way to look at it too is, I know everyone thinks it's like a restrictive diet. I look at it as just taking away everything that's working against you and keeping what is working for you. It is, you're keeping the most nutrient dense food and just getting rid of everything that's been holding you back. So I just think of it as taking the next step forward, rather than, it's not really a restrictive diet, because it gives you so much more time, energy, and ability to actually enjoy life more, so you can actually do more things.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's not, to me, restrictive is, being fat and not being able to tie your shoes without getting winded, right?
Yeah. Or go down and enjoy the beach, or, go jogging, or just enjoy life in general.
Absolutely. Yeah. So because the brain fog is gone, because the depression and the anxiety is lifted for me, my business has doubled in the last year. Wow. Just because I'm able to, my mind is so much sharper. I'm able to see opportunities and jump on them and service my clients so much better than I was before, and take care of things and interact with people more, because that anxiety is gone, and it has worked wonders for my business, so that, to me, having that depression, anxiety, the brain fog and all those things, that's restrictive, right? Yeah. Having the brain injury is restrictive. Plantar fasciitis, I can't even walk around for more than 30 minutes. That is restrictive. Eating steaks is like, come on. That is not restrictive whatsoever. That's eating like a king. Yeah, you don't have as much variety, if you will, but there's plenty of recipes out there that you can add some variety in. But if you look at food as your source of happiness, you're probably doing something wrong.
Yeah, that's right. Well, you're not doing enough.
Right.
Because, I mean, that there is the restriction. If you are looking at food as your entertainment, that is restrictive.
Absolutely.
And being trapped inside a fat body, or just being trapped inside all day, that is where the restriction is. So yeah, I agree 100%. Now, another thing, you said that you're working on the documentary Healing Humanity. Do you want to tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, so this is the brainchild of Kerry Mann at the Homestead How YouTube channel. Absolutely wonderful guy, great man of character. He decided that because his transformation was so profound with depression and anxiety, where he was clinically diagnosed with those and was on multiple SSRIs to control that situation with him. And he had experienced weight loss, and everything was just so profound with him and his transformation that he decided that we need to do a movie, or he needed to do a movie. So he decided, he just randomly said that on a live stream, and I caught wind of that. And he owns a movie theater as well. So I thought, wow, how cool is this? You know, this guy wants to make a movie. It's something that's sort of in my wheelhouse. I have experience doing this carnivore diet. I've seen similar results from it, and I'm passionate about it. So I took a chance. You know, he had 75,000 subscribers, I think, at the time. So I'm thinking in my mind, there's no way that he's going to get this email and read it. You know, he gets thousands and thousands of views and hundreds of comments on his videos. There's no way he's going to read an email. He probably gets 1,000 of them a day. And within, I don't know, maybe a few hours of sending that email, he responded back and said, yeah, let's connect. And we were off to the races after that. But in my initial message, I actually told him, I said, man, you know, I have experience at business. I have experience at controls engineering, electrical engineering, and, you know, I have experience being a good employee. So whatever you need done, you know, even if you need the floor swept, I would love to be involved with whatever you're going to do with this. And yeah, that's how we essentially connected. And here we are now. We're $130,000 raised by the generous donors, crowdfunding, and it's just like Bill Knott says, it's providence. Like something's going on, things are lining up, and you know we're pressing forward with this documentary in ways that I never thought would have been possible, especially for two people that aren't filmmakers. But now we are.
Yeah. Well, yeah, now you've been super busy ever since.
For sure.
Flat out. Yeah. But it is somewhat providence, isn't it? It is there's a lot of movement going on around the world right now. And yeah, be it people trying to restrict our diet in particular, people speaking out about it, and people waking up. You know, this is a time of a great movement around the world is happening. Not just about the carnivore diet, but just, you know, freedoms for everyone in general, basically speaking. So there is a lot of things going on right now, and it is great to see, actually. So
yeah,
hopefully
absolutely.
this will be one of those things.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
Get that film out. That would be great. So what are your plans or hopes for the film so far?
Our hopes for the film is to reach a national or global platform like Netflix, HBO. Yeah. We're initially going to try to, we're actually going to submit what's called a torch, which is like a 5 to 7 minute trailer to Angel Studios. Angel Studios just did the movie called Sound of Freedom that was in theaters. Yeah. They have done a documentary as well that was in theaters, which that's somewhat rare. So being able to submit to them and then getting that torch essentially upvoted by the guild, that will move on to the next stage, which is funding. Yeah. And they give you a bunch of other resources as well. They give you complete creative control. It's not an exclusive deal with them either, but they will try to get your movie in theaters and help in that effort, as well as their streaming service too. So that's, you know, once it's in theaters and on their streaming service, they will take, I think, 30% cut of any kind of monies that come in, which is fine. Yeah. Because, you know, there's the potential to raise $5 million through their platform. So yeah,
well, it's really about the message too.
Absolutely,
so, yeah,
for sure.
As long as the message gets out there, then that's more important, really, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So, yeah. So that's a great thing, anyway. Okay, so let me see. Unexpected. We've done. We've sort of talked about some of the unexpected benefits. Have you had any trouble with family, friends, social occasions, anything like that, being a carnivore?
The only issue I've had with family is they're tired of hearing about the carnivore diet. So
Yeah.
I haven't got any pushback like you're going to die or you're going to have a heart attack or anything like that. I don't think anybody cares.
Yeah.
Maybe they're hoping. Maybe they're hoping. But
The insurance.
yeah, right. They're just like, oh, I'm sick of hearing about this, but I can't. I'm trying to dial it back a lot because it is a lot, and it probably would be annoying if I was somebody else listening to it too. So
Yeah.
but I'm just too excited. This message is far too important to not reach everyone.
Yeah. Now that's the thing too. When you get it can be anything. It doesn't matter if it's diet or anything. But when you're excited about something in particular, that's pretty much you dive into it, and that's all you talk about. That's it. This is the main focus. So
yeah.
That's okay. I can completely understand that. So
yeah, it's funny because every interaction that I have with somebody is like, oh, so and so got cancer, and my first thought is carnivore diet,
yeah.
or oh, so and so has diabetes, carnivore diet,
Yeah. Yeah.
Or oh, I got a sunburn the other day, carnivore diet,
Yeah. That's something I didn't expect actually is sunburn. I don't get sunburn anymore. Like before carnivore, even before like keto, I would, if I opened the curtains in my living room, I'd get sunburn,
Wow.
But now I'll go down to the beach for hours. I'll spend all day there, and I'll come out. I'll have a light red tinge, and then the next day it's gone.
Yep. Same here.
It's an amazing difference.
Yeah, that's
because
like
our cholesterol is working for us. Yeah, it's incredible. It really is. That was the most unexpected for me so far, anyway. So it's been an incredible benefit, really. Everything has. It's just like I said, like to gain your independence back, to gain your life back, your mobility back, your concentration, your focusing skills, everything. It's like a new you, like
absolutely
completely rebuilding, and because of that, it just shows you again just how resilient the human body can be if you give it the right food, So
yeah, your body wants to live.
It does. Yeah,
that's what it does best. You don't have to tell it what to do. You just got to give it the right fuel.
That's right. Exactly. And this is the thing too. Your body craves nutrients. It doesn't crave, energy. It doesn't crave calories. It craves nutrients, the right nutrients for your body.
Yeah, so that's a great way to put it.
That's something that's really important. I think everyone needs to understand too. Don't worry about calorie charts or anything like that. Read the ingredients and feed your body the right nutrients. So apart from that, don't just take our word for it. There is a lot of information out there, not just from us, but from doctors, from very good people actually. So it's worth looking into and try and live as naturally as you can in this very unnatural world. And for me, that includes changing the soaps and chemicals that you come into contact as well. It's not just the way you eat. Is that something you do, Adam? Do you have any other life hacks apart from the carnivore diet? Is there anything else you add to that?
Well, definitely try to get as much sun as you can on your skin. That seems to help with just general health, and mood, and it lifts your mood when you're out in the sun for sure. I do some of the grounding. I don't do it all the time, and that seems to have somewhat of a positive benefit as well. When I shower, I don't really use soap or shampoo either, and I don't stink, which is weird. But so that's another benefit, as unexpected benefit. Whereas before, it was BO all the time and having to use it was just what wasn't good. But now it's just, I don't know, it's just strange. It's a total transformation. So being able to cut out those chemicals no doubt has a benefit.
Yeah. Yeah, it certainly does. Like, you absorb quite a lot through your skin. So hormone production, that sort of stuff is always affected. So I always use a tallow soap. And like you said, grounding is another great thing. So being out and enjoying the sun, deep breathing exercise, that sort of stuff. So great things. Okay, any last words of wisdom for the audience?
Just do it, like Nike.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Take care.
Do it the right way.
Absolutely, do it the right way. So people, if they're looking into the documentary itself, there's a YouTube channel for that. It's at Healing Humanity Movie. So that's the YouTube channel for that. I have a YouTube channel at Carnivore Today. That's my personal YouTube channel, but I'm trying to represent healing humanity as much as possible and kind of diminish Carnivore Today a little bit.
Well.
Yeah. So that's the most important thing to me right now is getting that movie done and getting the message out to people, and healing as many people as we can, not hands-on or personally, but at least bringing the message and showing them what real examples of people have, the benefits that they've seen eating zero carb or low carb diet, a whole foods diet, if you will. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, just getting the message out to them, because that's how it starts. You plant the seed, and the message continues. So excellent advice.